So we are Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the abridged code of Jewish law, chapter 120, and we're up to number 6 above. Just a reminder, next week, God willing, we'll start at chapter 1. So if you need to organize another volume. Okay. 6. B'mei Svira, Meso Tamid Rabbi Kiva, b'shloish shloishim yom. During the days of the counting of the Svira, almost 2,000 years ago, the students of Rabbi Kiva passed away over a 33-day period. And therefore, we have a custom that we keep certain mourning during this time. So let's just go back a step just to make sure that everyone's got it clear. So Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students. He was the preeminent Torah scholar of the period. It was the generation after the destruction of the temple. 2 generations, and he had a whole network, and the Torah really came. He was the main, his students were the cream of Jewish academia. They were the rabbinic leadership. And then the Talmud tells us that they didn't treat each other with proper respect. So just to put that in perspective, it doesn't mean that they call each other names. You're talking about very great people. But what it does mean is that each person is judged at their level. The greater the person, the more we expect from them. There's certain things that a small child can say, and you think it's cute. If an adult says it, it's rude. When they make comments about people, as people mature, as people become more prominent, we expect higher standards. This is one of the problems that many famous sort of celebrities, sports stars, or movie stars, various things, they actually didn't become better people. They just became famous, and people have higher expectations of them. Right? People are more outraged if a police officer breaks the law than a regular person, because we expect more. They're the ones who are meant to be enforcing the law. So the greater the person is, the more is expected from them. And so these students of Rabbi Kiva, the cream of the crop, should have treated each other with, it's not that they were disrespectful per se, but they didn't treat each other the way that they should. So what happened is that each one of them had an understanding of their teacher's teachings, and each one felt that their understanding is the only true understanding, which that in itself is a lesson for us.
So you're saying that their egos were in the way.
Well, again, but not in a crass way. In other words, not what we'd normally call an ego, but relative to their great high level, it wasn't up to scratch. It's for example, when Moshe was punished for hitting the rock. So what happened? It's nothing to do with Sphira, but just to understand the point. 40 years earlier, almost, when they didn't have water, Hashem told them, take your stick and go hit the rock. And he hit the rock, and out came water, the well of Miriam. So Miriam passed away because it was in her merit. It stopped. So Hashem told him, go out to the rock with your staff and speak to it and tell it to give water. So they went out to the rock. Now, a lot of rocks look the same. So now that water wasn't coming out of it, it just looked like any other rock. So unfortunately, went to the wrong rock. And Moshe says, give water. Didn't do anything. So he thought to himself, Hashem told me to bring the stick, so maybe I meant to hit it like I did last time. So he gives it a hit, and a few drops come out. Oh, I meant to hit it. So he hit it again, became a bit more. Hits it the 3rd time, and it's the whole string. And Hashem's upset with him. Why? Because you can imagine if he would have spoken to a rock and miraculously did what Hashem wanted, just from speaking. How much more so a person? When Hashem tells him, no, there was the purpose was to give this lesson. And the Torah sort of speaks as if Moshe got angry. It seems as if Moshe flew into a rage. Now, that's not what happened. We didn't get into a rage like a 2-year-old tantrum hit the rock. What he did, if we would have done the same thing, might have been good job. Why was it so serious that Moshe did it? Because on such a high level, he should have had the composure to think perhaps there's other options. Maybe we got the wrong rock. Because Hashem didn't actually say hit it. Hashem said speak. So for Moshe, that was like the equivalent of us flying to a rage. So for these great people, it wasn't like they got immaturely egotistic and treat each other. But on their high level, relative to their high level, it's equivalent of a regular person putting the ego in the way. So, each one of us is looked at our own potential. We're not judged. The famous Reb Zusha of Anapoli, he had a saying. He says he's not afraid at the end of his life, and he goes heavenly court. He's not afraid they're going to ask him, "Why weren't you Moshe Rabbeinu? Why weren't you Moses?" So I got to give a very good answer, because I wasn't born with these spiritual capabilities. He says, I'm not afraid they're going to ask me, why weren't you great as a Rambam? He's got a good answer. I'm not the Rambam. The Reb Zusha used to say, I'm afraid they're going to ask me, why weren't you Zusha? Right? Why didn't you utilize your full potential? So according to their potential, they didn't treat each other the way they should have. And because of this, they ended up passing away with 33. You can imagine this is in 33 days. The absolute cream of the crop was shocking for the Jewish people. Side point to this, he started again. You can imagine he's well over 100 years old. All these students passed away. Most people had just gone through retirement. That's it. But he started again with 5 young students. From these 5, we have all the Torah we have today. Rabbi Meir is really the one who developed the Talmud. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Kabbalah is on every page of them, right? From these 5, we have everything we have today. So, another lesson for us. So they passed over these 33 days. So therefore, amongst other things, we don't get married during these 33 days. We don't have a big celebration. We don't get haircuts. There are different customs of when and how we observe these 33 days. There's some places the custom is as follows. They start keeping the 33 days from the first day of the Sphira. And therefore, they keep this custom morning until Lag BaOmer, which is the 33rd day of the Omer. They keep those 33 days finished. Shechal Rosh Chodesh Iyar v'Shabbos, but if Rosh Chodesh Iyar falls out on Shabbos, so you've got the honor of Rosh Chodesh combined with the honor of Shabbos, like it did this year. There's 2 holinesses to the day. Kedush Shabbos, Kedush Rosh Chodesh, the holiness of Shabbos and the holiness of Rosh Chodesh. As material on that day, you can get married. So people could have got married on this past Friday. And this type of Erev Shabbos, they can also got a haircut. But Yom Lag BaOmer, and also on the Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day, you can allow to. From then on, it's allowed. So even though it should have kept 33 full days, but we're already stopping the morning on the 33rd day. Yom Lag BaOmer, Pascal Malamas, because it was actually like BaOmer, they stopped passing away. So even though some died, but for part of the day, people didn't die, and so therefore it's like the beginning. Therefore, like BaOmer, we increase a little bit in joy. We don't say the tachnun, we don't say the supplication parts of the prayers. Even though some did pass away on that day, we say mixas hayom kakuloi. Part of the day is like the whole day. And therefore, we don't actually have weddings or get married till the if you keep this custom till the day starts, not in the evening. If Lag BaOmer falls out on the Sunday, Shabbos the fun of the you can even get your haircut the Shabbos beforehand, the Friday, before Shabbos. So that's one custom. So one custom is we keep the first 33 days, and the 33rd day we stop. That's one custom of keeping the morning. So yes, so someone asked the question that some of the students. So what happened? Rabbi Kiva went away to learn, and when he came back with all his students, and his wife came out to greet him, and some of the students didn't let her come, and he said, "I'll let her in if everything we have, I have, you have, is from her." So someone asked, "Was that disrespectful behavior?" That really wasn't, in that they didn't know who she was. I can imagine this great person who's coming to the town. They knew he had a wife there, perhaps, and but they come to the town, and along comes this lady rushing through the crowd. Who knows who she is? It's so in that case, it was more that they didn't know who it was, and that was the situation. Zayin, number 7. The Yesh Mekoimus. Now, there's other places that they have a different custom. Their customs as follows: Shematirim ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar v'ad B'chlal. They get married and they have haircuts and everything until Rosh Chodesh Iyar, until the first day of the Jewish month of Iyar, which was Shabbos. So there's almost 2 weeks. Shen Shisha also Yom 16 days. The reason I said it's almost 2 weeks is because some of those days are Yontiv, which we don't really keep the morning anyway, but almost 2 weeks of mourning, 16 days. And therefore, they keep 33 days of mourning from then until the end of Sfira, until Shavuos. They stop in Erev Chag and they get a haircut the day before the festival. Nevertheless, the Yom Lag BaOmer Ba'atzma B'tirin. On the day of Lag BaOmer itself, even though that's in the middle of when they keep in the morning, on that day they can get married and various things. We'll skip the brackets. The Yesh, so that's that custom. The Yesh Mekom Shetirim Ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar V'lo Ad B'chlal. And then there's some people who start the day after Rosh Chodesh. V'yom Rishon the Rosh Chodesh Maskal Issa. Right, and so they start. They keep the first day Rosh Chodesh. V'yom Rishon Dagbala Hu Lag BaOmer. Sorry, I'm confusing two things. I put the pause in the wrong place. So the second custom is that custom number 1, they keep the first 33 days. Custom number 2 is they keep the second 33 days. Custom number 3 is they start one day afterwards, start a day later, so not including of Rosh Chodesh and the first day. And then the Yom Rishon Shegbala Hu Yom Lag BaOmer, and then Lam Gilon Lag BaOmer, and then the first day of preparation of Shavuos. So they start a day earlier, which is the 33rd day of the Omer. And they keep a part of the day as a whole day. So they've started now the first day Rosh Chodesh, and they've gone 33 days afterwards is 2 days before Shavuos. And they can start getting married and have haircuts from them. The Gamba Yom Lag BaOmer Tirin, and they also allow to get married and have haircuts on Lag BaOmer. So 3 customs. But tzrichin linghoy b'chol kilo minog echad v'lishano lasos m'ksasum kach m'ksasum kach. The main thing you have to do is the whole town has to keep one custom. You know, some people keep these days, some people keep these days. That's not how it should go. The whole community should keep the same custom. Now, the custom there's another custom that's not really mentioned here, and it's also the custom that Chabad keeps, is that they essentially keep the whole Omer off, but it's not really all 49 days, because if you take away the days that are Yontif, and you take away, because on Yontif there's no morning, and you take away Rosh Chodesh, because Rosh Chodesh is not nice to do morning, and you take away the Shabbases, you subtract all those days, and you just look at regular plain weekdays, you end up with 33 days. And actually 33 days that you can't keep the morning. So there's a custom, and this is the Chabad custom, is to keep essentially the whole Omer, and that way they get 33 days that they actually observe it. Although we do get married and various things on Lag BaOmer. And actually last year, one of my sons got married Lag BaOmer. Right? So it was came up to their 1 year anniversary, God willing. Okay. Ches number 8. So we're going to mention now, we're going to smoke if there's a bris. So a baby gets born. It's obviously a very exciting time. And anyone who comes to the bris obviously enjoys it, and it's a wonderful simcha. But there's 3 main players in the bris. There's the parents. Okay. There's the moil, the one actually performs the bris, and there's the sandik, the one who holds the child. Right? These are the 3 main people. Now, if forget about the Omer, if it's just a regular time, if any of these 3 people were in a shul, we admit, we leave out the tachanun, the supplications about, you know, asking for forgiveness. You know, just having these people in the room, it's very, very special. So normally during the Sfira, again, we said we can't get a haircut. So Ches number 8, a sandik, where Taifas is a tinuk b'shas mil, that's the one who holds the child at the time of the bris, v'amoyel, and the one performing the bris, v'avi abain, and the father. The reason that it's the mother, we're gonna women, anytime their hair, you know, because they need, generally married women cover their hair, so if there's any hair coming out, they get a haircut anyway. So they don't really have the restriction so much. So in this case, the father. So these 3 people, they can get a haircut in the afternoon before the bris. Before they go to shul, so they can come to the bris looking, you know, like they would for a simcha. Test number 9. Now, even though we can't get married during the Sfira, we can make engagements and get engaged during Sfira. I got engaged during Sfira. Right? 28 years ago. It's almost my anniversary. A fill of a suda, you can even make a little meal, can make a little something. It's miscible all the days. But you can't dance and you can't play music. You can't dance and you can't play music at the engagement party during Sfira. You can at other times, obviously, but not during Sfira. And but you can have some type of meal, a little bit of a party, a little something. Yud, number 10. Nahagin shalasois malacha echad anoshim ve'echad noshim kol yimei Sfira v'shkias achama ad achas v'zaymer. We have a custom that from the time of sunset until we actually count, we shouldn't do work. Now, obviously, you know, if someone's working in the Iyar and that's the hours, you know, the patient comes in, you don't say, oh, well, just wait 20 minutes till I count Sfira, you know, just leave him over there, you know, you go take care of the patient. But in other words, we don't want to get involved in things that we're going to get maybe so sidetracked into for hours and forget to count. So we try not to start new projects or various things. There's a hint to this. Shnama says, Sheva Shabbosos, Now, when it says that we count for 7 weeks, the word for week that it uses Sheva Shabbos, like 7 Shabboses. So it's like a hint. Malosh and Shavuos, it's like the same word, it's the same terminology as Shabbos, meaning Shabbos Manasphira, from the time that you could count, the Hayna Meshkir Secham of Eilach, meaning from sunset onwards. We should rest from doing work till after we count the sphere. I mean, it's not really what the verse means. It's just a little, like a play on words to help us remember. But the idea is that we shouldn't get sidetracked, shouldn't get involved in other things. You can imagine a person, I'm just going to pull the engine apart on the car, and it starts in 5 hours later, and then he's tired and he goes to sleep and forgets to count. Yud Aleph, number 11. So we're finished counting now. Once we get to 11, we counted 49 days. Bilal Rishon de Shavuos. Actually, maybe we'll go back a step. Normally on Shabbos and Yom Tov, we don't wait right till nightfall to daven, to say the evening prayer. We normally start a bit early because we want to add to the holiness. We want to bring in Shabbos and Yom Tov a drop earlier, and to bring more holiness into the weekday. The problem is we can't do this on Shavuos. Why not? The Bilal Rishon de Shavuos, on the first night of Shavuos, Machiron Mispalel Arvis Atzeis Chavim. We have to wait until 3 stars have come out before we start the evening service. We cannot bring it in early. Why can't we bring Yom Tov early? We like to bring Yom Tov early. The problem is like this. If we're going to daven early and bring in Yom Tov early, then we've taken away from the 49 days of the Sphira. But Torah Amra, and it says in the Torah, what does it say? Sheva Shabbos is Tamimois Tiyena. You should count 7 complete weeks. And if we're going to bring in, let's say Shabbos 20 minutes early, Shavuos 20 minutes early, we're going to have 7 weeks, not complete 7 weeks. We're going to have 7 weeks minus 20 minutes. So therefore, we need to wait. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so then we'll discuss some other ideas of Sphira. So today, one of the issues we have with Sphira is crossing the date line. Yeah, I think we did mention this briefly last year, but a little more depth now. The date line, by the way, is discussed in our Talmudic sages, but not really in great detail, because no one could travel far enough, fast enough for it to actually be relevant. It was just a concept that exists. But let's say what happens like this. I'm in Sydney, in Australia, or anywhere on the east coast of Australia. I'm Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, whatever. And I count, let's say, day 10. Monday. I don't know if Monday this year was day 10, but whatever, in my example, Monday, day 10. Then I get on the plane. And just before it gets light, just before I land in LA or somewhere on the west coast of America. And when I land, since I've crossed the date line during the night, it's Monday again. And then what happens is, that night, when it comes to Count Sphira, I'm up to 11, and everyone else is up to 10. So what do I count? Right? So I'm going to count my own count. But this leads us to a bigger problem. The biggest problem is then, when do I have Shavuos? Because Shavuos is different to all other festivals. All other Yom Tovim have a date. The Torah gives us a date. Yom Kippur is the 10th of Tishrei. Rosh Hashanah is the 4th of Tishrei. Pesach is the 15th of Nisan. Every Yom Tov has a date. Shavuos, though, is not a set date. Shavuos is the 50th day after Pesach. So I have first day Pesach, I count 49 days La'omer. The 50th day is Shavuos. Now, today we have a set calendar, but in the ideal world, and it was this way for many years, and God willing, when Mashiach comes, we're going to go back to this. That is, people, whenever they see the new moon, witnesses will come to the Sanhedrin, the supreme Jewish court in the Beis Hamikdash, or wherever the Sanhedrin happens to be, and the Sanhedrin will declare the month based on the seeing of the moon. Now, the lunar month is just under 29 and a half days. So since it's just under 29 and a half days. So since approximately 29 and a half days, what ends up happening is that a Jewish month often goes 30 days, next one's 29 days, next one's 30 days, next one's 29 days, because that half will alternate from month to month. But since it's not exactly a half, sometimes it's a little bit off. So if the months of Nisan and Iyar were both 30-day months, then Shavuos will fall out on the 5th of Sivan. If 1 month, one of them is 30 and one is 29, like in our set calendar today, Shavuos will fall out on the 6th of Sivan. If they're both 29-day months, then Shavuos will fall out on the 7th of Sivan. And so Shavuos doesn't have a date per se, it just happens to be the 50th day after Pesach. And sometimes it did fall out in those days. Probably the most famous example is King David passed away on Shavuos. And that year, Shavuos was the 7th of Sivan. What for us outside of Israel is a second day Shavuos. But there was no second day. There's no second day Shavuos in Israel, and in those days there was no second day Shavuos anywhere because Jews didn't live anywhere else except Israel. But that year it was Shavuos because evidently that year the month of Nisan must have been 29 days. The month of Iyar, which we're in now, must have been 29 days, and so we got through. The 50th day was later into Sivan. Was the 7th of Sivan. So the question is then. So normally, if I cross the date line, I keep Pesach the same day everyone else keeps Pesach because that's the date. That's the date where I am. You know, if I cross the date line, I keep Shabbos the same day as everyone else. So if I cross the date line one way, I'll have 7 weekdays than a Shabbos. If I cross the date line the other way, I'll have 5 weekdays than a Shabbos because they're all dates. But Shavuos, which doesn't have a date, it's not so clear what happens. Do we keep the date or do we go after a count of the Sefira? So the ruling is that ideally, once you go the other way around the world, right? Travel via Europe if you're going to do that, and that way you only lose a few hours. You don't really lose a day in the date line. But if you did happen to cross the date line, then you keep Shavuos according to your own count, not according to what everyone else is doing. I did do this one year. I was, I'm not going to say I was living in New York, so I'm not sure you can call it living in New York, but I was residing there. And I went to Australia, spent Pesach with my family. And we came back during Sefira. So I got a day ahead. So my first day Shavuos was the day before Shavuos to everyone else. You know, at that time we lived in an apartment building, 17 Jewish families, over 100 kids. And the whole apartment building were like our Shabbos square. They could do whatever, they could do stuff for us. Our second day Shavuos was their first day Shavuos. And then their second day Shavuos was a weekday for me. But I couldn't do anything back for them because it's Moros Ayin. It looks like the wrong thing since it's officially Yom Tov that day. So that's what happens. Okay, any questions on that? No, I always get worried, as I say, when there's no questions. Always get worried. Okay.
Don't.
So, sorry?
I said, don't.
Okay. So,
Rabbi Wernick,
yes.
Mordecai, you just
Yeah.
froze.
Rose.
actually, this thing with the deadline kind of reminds me. Oh, I froze.
Yeah.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're back. And then you froze again. Okay, so while you're getting unfrozen,
frozen?
no, that's good. See,
Okay.
you got to be in Phoenix. You might be frozen. It's nice and warm here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you
Or
now.
am I
Yes.
frozen?
Yeah.
Yeah, a number of years ago, we had visited Las Vegas, and one of the
Froze again.
We got to Las Vegas. We made one step.
where my son lives now, but yeah, we
Rabbi, you're freezing. Mordechai,
Okay.
you're freezing on and off.
yeah, we took this boat ride on Lake Mead, 30
No.
Okay. So we
first to celebrate New Year's 12th, and then when you go, well,
in the meantime, volume 1. Yeah, multi-volume next week.
west, it
Start the beginning.
changes the time.
Yes. Yeah, you gain hours. That's right. It's not a whole day, but you gain hours. Yeah. All right. We'll see everyone next week, God willing.
Ashikoa.
Have a wonderful week, wonderful Shabbos. Everyone stay healthy and have a wonderful time.
Have a good Shabbos.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Like I said,
Thank you.
Deborah,
Bye, everyone.
Stay safe.
Bye.